Hello and welcome back to Bootleg Macro, your number one source for the most actively traded stocks in the US stock market. Today, when we look at FinViz and we look on the most actively traded stocks, one of the things that jumps out today is that we have gone from what are generally usually penny stocks to well-known names inside of the market. And that's because we have what is considered to be a contagion event, possibly a credit event, as well as some systemic risk, which is shaking through the entire market and scaring everyone out of currently bank. Now, we look at Credit Suisse here, what we can see is that as far back as July, as we have on this chart, it was trading around 550, 575. And in the span of what is now, it looks like just a half a year, Credit Suisse has fallen all the way down and it closed today at 94 cents. That is the type of move that you can see in the most active stocks. Now what I want to do is take a very quick look over at the daily volume, because obviously if this is the most actively traded stock, it has to have high volume. And we can see that on the 20th, on the Monday of this day, it traded over 375 million shares. And one of the other interesting parts is that it had another day just last week, it looks like on Wednesday, where it traded over 434 million shares and it was down 13%. Once you see volume confirming with the direction of price, that is when you're going to start to see some very ugly moves. Now, when I look at my specific signal here, I can see that I got a bearish, at least back on 12, at least on the day after Valentine's Day here in the United States. We got what I see is a go short on the short term, go short on the midterm, go short on the long term. We got bearish for the sentiment indicator. And for me, that is a great indication of when you want to start to get at least short, if not remove all your positions if you're long. So we're going to go back over, we're going to quickly take a look at what volatility is doing and see how the trade range has been shaping up here for Credit Suisse. We're going to scroll right on up here. We're going to go to what is the daily sentiment indicator. So this is going to be a much slower indicator than the 2-day average. We can see that Credit Suisse currently is already down to 36% bullish price action. And based on what we're seeing in the market, it could go lower. Now, generally this oscillator goes between 40% and 60%, and it's hard to go above 60. It's hard to go below 40% when it comes to bullishness, just because the market likes to have a little bit of balance. So you can see here that on the day of the 3rd, it got up to 60% when it comes to bullishness, and then promptly started its descent down. Similar, we saw it get up to 57% back in November, promptly started to make its way down. And then when it got to 35% bullishness at the very end of December, or in the middle of December here, we can see it started to make its way up. That's just a good way to understand exactly what you're looking at when you're thinking about these sentiment indicators, especially on that daily. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what we see as the sentiment-based trade range. So the sentiment-based trade range, what we can see, so this here, this is the general price. Black is the price. We can see that it's fallen all the way down to 94 cents. And on the 15th is exactly what we were looking at, is when we got our bearish sentiment. So the bearish sentiment will be represented by this red line here, and it continues to fall as the price goes with it. And we can see we got these go short signals just before, it looks like on the 10th, and it's essentially a go short signal ever since. So those are the type of signals that I like to look at in the most actively traded stocks, but this is just a general setup for myself and how I like to view the market. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at what we have as a non-sentiment based trade range. This is what we see here for Credit Suisse. It's non-sentiment based, so you're just going to get the general probability. Again, it is only representative of what is probable, not what is possible. So we can see here the price dipped significantly below its probable range, and that's because these are just probabilities. There is always a percentage risk that something will go to zero, and we are now getting much closer to what that likely outcome is for Credit Suisse. We'll find out in the coming days, weeks, and months on if this bank continues to make it or not. Now let's go ahead and take a very quick look at volatility. The volatility of Credit Suisse is going to be, so here is volatility. The red is the volatility of Credit Suisse. The blue is the price correlation of volatility. So what we're seeing very aggressively is that volatility is starting to break out in Credit Suisse, and correlation to price is very negative. So the higher we see volatility rise, the lower we would expect price to go. Obviously, with it being zero bound, you can't go below $0. Maybe we'll find out. We did see that happen to oil in the futures contract back in 2020, but I don't think that you're going to see equity go to zero, just because that is how math works. So we're going to take a quick look, rolling over here to this trade card, which you can see in the main trade card. We've got the 1 day, 1 week, 15 day, 1 month, 3 month, 5 month, and 1 year return, all incredibly negative for Credit Suisse. The lowest that they're looking at is over 5 months. They're only down 48%. These numbers, when it comes to 5 months and 1 year, is based off the weekly. So this will get updated as we move into the next week. We do not know exactly how this is going to play out for Credit Suisse, considering it is only Monday of this week. It's only the 20th. One thing that I want to really pay attention to is just the general market sentiment. You can see here that my signal is giving me warnings on the VIX, right? It's saying there is a very bullish signal on VIX, which generally means a very bearish signal for markets. So this is what we're looking at when we're looking at Credit Suisse. It is time to be cautious. It is time to be smart. It is time to protect, preserve, and raise capital. This has been another one of the reviews of the most active ticker in the stock market today. Always check back here because I update every single day with the most active ticker in the US stock market.